right? Suspended antimatter at a giant magnetic plasma field, and then if you break the field, the matter comes together, boom, you get a bomb. Why is that a big deal? Because antimatter completely annihilates its opposite. Okay? So it turns the entire matter into energy, actually twice the entire matter into energy. Which is a big deal because, for those of you that haven't been keeping track, the Hiroshima bomb, which blew up Hiroshima, here's how much mass it converted to energy. 1/3 the mass of a dime. That's what it converted. 1/3 the mass of a dime. So what that means is, if I were to take, I don't know, just 20 chairs here in this room and then got 20 antimatter chairs from the other hotel and brought them over and put them together, it would blow up Philadelphia. Oh, no, we're not in Philly. We're in Maine. We'll blow up Portland. I'm going to Philly. That's where I'm going. That's very heavy-duty explosive stuff. And so the Air Force, and then that article was, and then nothing after that. It just disappeared. No follow-up, no investigation, no committees. They're down there somewhere in an underground facility working on an antimatter weapon, get that, atoms together. And that way you could take something about this big and you could suspend it with something that big and then boom, put it together and you would blow up, well, a lot. Probably build bombs capable of 400, 500, even 1,000 megaton. Whoa. And have we heard anything since? No. Are they making progress? I have no idea. It's all black projects. But it turned up in an article in the Washington Post. And I'm thinking, why did that happen? You know what? I'll tell you why it happened. Because whatever happens down the line, like there's an explosion in Nevada that blows like a 50-mile wide crater because a little experiment they're working on, they can say, we told you in 1999. It was right there in the Washington Post. We told you we're working on antimatter weapons, so what's your problem? Right? It's called a limited hangout. So this cartoon, it's absolutely on the money. And I'm not even going to bother you with the bioweapons laboratory research. Don't want to go there. All right? Are they still doing that? Oh, God, yes. Is that even more dangerous than antimatter? Probably. It works because it would be much slower, right? What's being done about that? Nothing. Because it's not happening. The government has become genius at saying things that don't exist. It's incredible. It's wonderful. Right? No ETs, no underground facilities, no bioweapons, no space weapons, none of this. And the American people buy it every time in the collective, but increasingly there's a growing group of people that do not buy it anymore. Now it gets to this. How am I doing on time? Anybody have an idea? I got till 9:30. What have I got?
20 minutes.
I only got 20 minutes?
15.
Holy crap. I've done it again. I've ad-libbed myself into trouble. So, I'm going to let you guys decide when you want me to end, all right? Let's see. The genetic connection. Now, this is, to me, the most important aspect of the entire thing. All right? The whole enchilada. This is it. And you're saying, okay, what do you got? I mean, yeah, they can move between stars. They can walk through walls. Okay, big deal, right? They got replicators that can make hot chocolate. God knows what they got. They're kind of advanced, though they're not that far advanced than we think, right? In fact, I think they're pretty close to us, which is why they're here in the first place. Right? You hang out with the people that are kind of near you, your semi-peers at least, right? The ones that are 5 million years ahead, trust me, they could care less about you. So basically, we got our near peers coming in, maybe 500 years ahead of us. So they got cool stuff. Okay, fine. So they're close, and they're here, and they have an agenda. What is it? And there's things we're going to learn. What are they? And what's the most profound thing we're going to learn? Well, this is what I think is the most profound thing. It's genetics. David Chase's work is underappreciated. You heard him today. Let me tell you, what he's contributing to this field is extremely important. He is the chief illustrator of what they look like and helped others to also draw, along with many other contactees who have artistic abilities. But he has perfected it. And so this is why we know what they look like, because of artists like David Chase. This is a core group. You went through it already. You saw it. You got your insectoid, you got your reptoid, you got your Nordic, you got 3 kinds of grays, you got a kind of ephemeral thing there, you got a fire plug, and I don't know who that guy in blue is. Right? This is kind of the core group. And then there's a few others that kind of cruise on through, right? They don't really hang out here, but they drop in once in a while. And they sort of throw the curve off. So there it is. All right. So like, does it look scary? Do you feel like running in fear? Yeah. Admittedly, if it was 1965 and some grays walked in your bedroom in the middle of the night, yeah, you're going to be very upset. I get that. But it's not 1960 anymore, it's 2014. So, what is so interesting about this photo that it is the most profound information you're going to learn? What is it? Okay. Let's start with the Nordic. Always start with the Nordic. He talked about them. They're Swedish looking, tall, gorgeous, fit, probably live a long time. They could be sitting in this room and you would not know it. Don't know if they could pass a physical, I think they could. Okay, cool. We got human type people here. No, it's not that simple. Look, let me just make it as clear as possible. You got our planet, 4 billion years old, primordial soup, evolution of life, boom, 4 billion years, here we are. 300,000 years old, Homo sapiens sapiens, you know what we look like, for better or for worse. Go 100 million light years in that direction, another planet, another primordial soup, 4 billion years, life comes up. Eventually becomes sentient, eventually gets starships. Travels 100 million years, comes here. 100 million light years, comes here. Gets off the ship, looks like a Swede. I'm sorry, not gonna happen. You could have 50 billion planets do that, not gonna happen. The odds are worse than Powerball. It's that bad. Impossible. So what's going on here? Well, one explanation is no. A bunch of really weird extraterrestrials, right, came here when we were very, very primitive. And they started working with this and working with this and working with this, and they made us look like that. And it turns out they look like Swedes. No, that didn't happen here. What happened here? I could be wrong. I'm speculating, I'm guessing, right? It's a wild guess. But you decide. I report, you decide. A couple thousand years ago, 10, 15, 20, you can go back 250,000 if you want, because if you go back 250,000 years, you could pick a human up off the planet, bring them forward in time, enroll them in class, take them right up to MIT, get them a PhD in astrophysics. Save us us. So some ETs came down, and they took 5,000 very healthy Northern European people, and they took them away. And there were no milk cartons to put their faces on, so nobody knew about it. And they went somewhere, some biosphere, doesn't matter, some place where they could live. And the ones that were taken probably were a little befuddled, and not much happened there, but their children went directly to advanced school. And in no time, they obviously had an advanced civilization, very quickly, of Northern Europeans removed from the planet Earth against their will. But they didn't stop there. The extraterrestrials are the masters of life sciences. They are the masters of genetics. If you look at the ET reports, contactee reports, it is obvious this is their stock in trade. And so they perfected them. They didn't have any political issues, they didn't have any moral qualms, they perfected them. I doubt there were any complaints. And so they made them perfect, nearly. Right? Live a long time, fully telepathic, no disease, beautiful, fit, healthy, you name it. They were humans perfected. And they are here because our planet is going through a very significant transition right now, leading to something very profound, and they are here to be part of it. They've come home. That is the only explanation for the Nordics. If anybody has got another one, I'm dying to hear it, right? I want to hear how that's possible. But it continues. You got your reptoids. They look reptilian. Oh, really? Right? Grew up, 50,000 light years away, took 4 billion years to form, and they look reptilian, just coincidentally. I don't think so. DNA was taken from our planet anytime in the last, 100 million years. Reptilian DNA. It was used and combined in some form or fashion to put reptilian characteristics into what turns out to be a sentient being. We do it all the time on our planet. Just look at the cattle industry, folks. Look at the animal industry, animal husbandry industry. We do it all the time. We perfect animals by combining various DNAs, and we're starting to get really rambunctious about that. We're getting carried away because we're not really mature enough to go well down that road, but they are perhaps more advanced. And then you got your insectoid. Gee. I saw Starship Troopers, the insect planet. I get it. What are the odds? Not too much. Insect DNA taken from the Earth, combined in some form or fashion to create a sentient being with insect qualities. The Greys could be totally extraterrestrial. All right? Very possible. Not seeing a whole lot of connections there. That's cool. Totally appropriate as well. Now, we also know that they're doing genetic work with contactees in vast numbers. The women are carrying virtually the full brunt of that, right? Which is why they're heavily involved in this issue, why they're leading the contact movement by and large, why they're most of the researchers, why now, and most of the people that are running support groups, because they are, in fact, carrying the load. They're carrying the water on this issue. They're here for DNA, and women create new life. So, when you take that, you combine it with the new research on panspermia, right? And then you simply logically remember that there are billions of civilizations out there, probably, that have been traversing the galaxy for God knows how long, and anyone can go to any biosphere, go down, take DNA, work with it, take it, whatever, store it, doesn't matter. What is the profound thing you're about to learn, possibly within the next year? Is that the entire Milky Way galaxy is already genetically connected from one end to the other. That Earth life concepts and DNA is spread already across the galaxy, and we have DNA, probably components, from elsewhere in the galaxy as well. That there may be other groups of human beings taken that are living quite nicely and have been genetically advanced so that they're very cool. But they're not visiting right now. But they're out there. So if our planet blows up tomorrow, no problem. Got plenty of humans out there. Our species will survive. Right? Is that profound enough for you? You want to talk about a worldview change? Right? We're wedded to this idea that, we're the top of the food chain, we're alone, you got national differences. When we're about to learn, not only are we not alone, we already have a genetic marker spread around the galaxy. God knows what's out there, connected to us already, that we could be involved with, meeting with, within a few years, if we could just get our act together on the issue of disclosure. Now that is profound, and that is the key message. Disclosure. I'm going to go into this as far as I can. At some point, you're going to say, "We've had enough, Steve," and we'll go to bed. Right? Keep going? Okay. Now, I'm going to go through this as fast as I can. Why? Giving you the sense of political implications, just the sense of the political implications of contact. Right? I believe the contactees are going to play an extremely important role in disclosure. I think they're coming out. They're going to start coming out in greater numbers. I think you're going to see some celebrities come out, some sports figures come out, some political figures come out. Not right away, but pretty soon. And then after disclosure, it's going to be raining contactees, folks. I'm telling you, raining contactees. They're going to be coming out in droves. Because unlike the gays, who were the last closeted group, and they're pretty much out now, they're coming out pretty fast. It wasn't easy because even of late, even though you could come out, it was still a little awkward, and there was a lot of people saying, "Yeah, just stay there, okay, just stay in, right? Stay in for a little bit longer." Not so with the contactees post-disclosure. You're going to have people, regular people, coming up on your closet door, pounding on it, going, get your ass out here, right? Come on, you're a contactee. I want to know everything you know. I got a party, you're invited, get there, right? Nobody in the closet, get out now. And so when you got people saying that to you on the other side of the door, you're not staying in the closet. They're going to be coming out by the millions, contact waves of them. And then what? Well, if I were them, and I'm not, I would politicize as quickly as possible. Using the internet, I would form groups of contactees for social change. Get 5 million people signed up on the group, set up a PAC, everybody puts 10 bucks in it, and start kicking butt all over Washington, D.C. The contactee post-disclosure political movement. You will have plenty of old paradigm jackasses that will tell you, don't do that, don't do that, don't get together, just do your thing, don't rock the boat, we got everything under control here, right? Don't collectivize, don't vote in a group, just, come out and keep your mouth shut. Well, tell them to go screw themselves, and do it. And that's just for starters. But one thing is for sure, contactees will be the principal source of information for the rest of the human race about the nature of this issue. Because they will be putting information out like a fire hose. The government's going to be trying to drop it to you with an eyedropper. Here's something, get back to me in a week, here's something else. And the contactees will go, wait a minute, here's what happened to me. So get ready for this. Get ready to be famous. Get ready to have paparazzi, right? And for God's sakes, don't make a sex tape. Now, particularly an extraterrestrial sex tape, though, I'll tell you, that would get views. I mean, major views. Disclosure is a form of acknowledgement by the world's government of the non-human extraterrestrial intelligence game and human race. I've said this 400,000 times. I think you've heard it. That's what it is. It's nothing more, it's nothing less. Other people want to define it another way. Fine. That's not what it is. We define the cake we're going to eat, right? That's what it is. That's what we're going to get. We're not trying to get somebody else's disclosure. We're trying to get that disclosure. Why am I pointing at that? I should be pointing at that. So let's talk about disclosure. Oh, I did that already. We live in the pre-disclosure world. Very soon we'll be in the post-disclosure world. As you can see, I cleverly made the post-disclosure world very cool. It has a galaxy. The pre-disclosure world is black. You got it? Good. We're separated from that world by a red line. What's that red line? It's made up of secrecies and lies. Institutional secrecy, institutional lies, which has become essentially a fundamental component of the new secret empires that have grown up during the Cold War. And due to technology advancements, they are now a toxic poison. They will kill the social contract and the body politic. We need to reform it. We need to reform it right now. It's like we got bit by a snake. And the government's going, look, don't rush to the hospital just yet. Take your time, sit down. Let's talk it over, all right? Let's discuss it, all right? No, you get bitten by a snake, you got to get that venom out right away. Well, we've had that venom developing for 67 years, folks. If we don't get rid of it pretty soon, it's going to get nasty. Now, that is what makes up that red line, all right? It's made up of secrecies and lies. If we get through that line, well, that line is, in fact, the truth embargo. That's what it is. That secrecies and lies, the whole institutional concept of that, employed sophisticatedly, is that a word? Is the truth embargo. Now, before we go forward, I want to get into some language here. One of the problems with things kind of coalescing is the language has not coalesced properly. We need to work on this. Now, I'm just making suggestions here, that's all. I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do. But I'm suggesting that we make some language changes, we make it soon. Here's a few. Cover up. We pretty much moved away from that. It's now called the truth embargo. I take full credit for this, thank you, if you're contributing to Wikipedia pages at all. Truth and cover up implies illegal action, a conspiracy to hide illegal action. That's not what it was. It was a national security decision and policy based upon the circumstances of 1947 going forward. The people that did it weren't criminals. They're still not criminals, but they've done criminal things in the interim. The policy was not illegal, therefore it's not a cover-up, so it's a truth embargo. When you're trying to deal with the government and get them to do something, you don't want to criminalize everybody in there that's on your side. You want to acknowledge that they did what they did for national security reasons in most part. The truth embargo helps to do that. Alien should go. Let's get rid of it. It's extraterrestrial. Now, alien has 3 syllables, extraterrestrial has 6. I understand, I get it. Alien comes right off the tongue, but there's a problem with it. You know those problems. It doesn't accurately reflect what you're talking about, and it's got too much baggage. Extraterrestrial was the name of a movie by Steven Spielberg, and it's really nice and cool. Let's go with that. Let's get rid of alien as best you can. UFO, what can I say? UFO has got to go. Now, it's not going to happen easily. I understand that. I use it myself from time to time, but it's a anachronistic non sequitur. It's both. Not one or the other, it's both. It's an anachronistic non sequitur. That means it's just got to go. And it's got to be replaced by extraterrestrial craft, or ship, or vehicle. Unidentified flying object is an utterly meaningless statement. All right? If it's unidentified, I'm not interested in it. Right? Whatever it is, I'm not interested in it. But if it's an extraterrestrial craft, I'm interested in it. And we've already proven that these are extraterrestrial craft. So why are we talking about things we're not interested in? And it goes even more sillier than that. I don't want to bore you with it, but UFO is ridiculous. It must go. It was created by the government, pushed by the government. It is a classic disinformation concept. It's newspeak. It's war is peace. Love is war. Love is hate. War is peace. UFO has to go, which means that ufology has to go. I'm sorry. And this is tough. This is tough, because the only thing you can replace it with is ET phenomena research. I'll let you say ET phenomena research. You don't have to say extraterrestrial phenomena research. That's way too many syllables. ET phenomena research. That's what it is. It's not ufology. It's not the science of studying unidentified things. Let it go. Flying saucer. It sounds cool. It's not cool. That's like calling a helicopter a flying egg beater. Right? Yeah, I'm serving in the National Guard. What do? I fly flying egg beaters. That's what I do. Aren't they helicopters? No, they're flying egg beaters. No, it's not a saucer. That is something you put a cup on, right? They are, as we talked about, ET craft, or ET vehicles, or ET ships. That's what they are. How about this? Cover-up. Ooh, I already went there. I had that twice. Forget it. Let's go to this. I don't think I have to work much hard on this. Most people know this sucks. All right. Believer is an ugly term. It is an epithet. You should be insulted if somebody calls you this, right? Don't hit him with a lead pipe or anything. The correct thing. A believer, well, what can I say? This term is classic government prop, all right? And you may say, I don't know. It just emerged out of the, organically out of the syntax of the modern era. No, it didn't. And I can prove it. Recently, we had a rather interesting event. Let me know when I gotta go. Recently, we had an interesting event. Some Saudi Arabians decided to, fly some airplanes and weren't very good at it. And so instead of landing, they crashed into some buildings. Many people were killed, right? Nobody wanted to investigate it until the families of the victims finally demanded it, and the government said, okay, if you really want to be that way about it, we'll investigate it, and get to the bottom of it, but we really didn't want to. It's such a hassle, and it's so hard. And so they investigated it, and people read the investigation report, and they said, this doesn't add up. And it started a little thing, got a thing going there. Within no time, a word emerged, just organically out of the fertile ground of syntactical stuff. And it was called truther. Remember? Still in play. Will somebody tell me what the hell a truther is? Truther. Apparently, people that were trying to seek the truth about 911, meaning a full and proper understanding based upon a proper investigation, were called truthers. And that was an epithet. Go on the net and you'll see. It's an epithet, folks. It's not complimenting them because they're truth seekers. It's denigrating them because they're stupidly looking for truth that's not really there because the government says it's not there. They're truthers. Look at the truth, it's not there. That's what they are. Truthers. Whoa! Boy, I hope they don't apply that to love. What are you? I'm a lover. Oh, God. That's so bad.
All right, what about birthers?
Birthers. Got birthers. It's simple, folks. The governments do this all the time. If something is displeasing them, ridicule it very cleverly, very brilliantly, isolate it so other people have an awkward and tainted sense about it, move them over there, and get on with the business of raping the planet. Truthers, believers, whatever. Well, I'll tell you, it's getting harder because the internet is a syntactical wonderland where you can find anything at any time. And so for a very long time, if you are convinced by the evidence of an extraterrestrial presence, you are a believer, right? And let's face it, once you're a believer, you might as well go hog believe everything. I mean, everything. I'm a believer. I believe everything. It's like that movie, Liar, right? Right? Where he couldn't tell a lie, right? And so he had to tell the truth all the time. Of course, good things happen to him when you tell the truth all the time. Believing, I'm not so sure. What are we? We are convinced by the evidence. There is no term to substitute here. Single word, sorry, can't do it. So when somebody uses the word believer to me, I simply say, I think you mean convinced by the evidence. All right? Nobody's going to call a quantum physicist who is discussing the nature of subatomic particles and say, what's that guy? He's a believer. He believes they're subatomic particles. Believer. Moving on. Paranormal. Now look, I'm really going to mess with your heads now. All right, get ready. Something to consider. This is almost on the level of a samadhi experience, one of those one with the universe kind of moments, which some of you I know have, every couple of days. I've never experienced it myself. But here is something I want you to think about. There is nothing in this world that is paranormal. Period. The universe is normal. Completely. From beginning to end, from bottom to top. Forward and backward in time. It's all normal. What else could it be? It's normal. It's what it is. Right? So, okay. It's normal. So, where does this power come from? What the hell does this power come from? Well, there's two kinds of normal. There's explained and there's unexplained. When you look at the definition of paranormal, it basically says in most dictionaries that the paranormal are things that are happening which can't be explained by normal science, which is also the definition of parapsychic. Parapsychic is mental phenomena that can't be explained by normal science. And I'm going, what in the hell is normal science? Right? Well, that's just the science that you sort of got right now, okay? Well, okay, I've got science, it's normal, but the science I don't got, that's normal too, I just don't got it yet, right? That's like saying, I got 5 apples here, so I got some normal apples, but I don't have any grapes, they're over there, so those are paranormal grapes. I don't think so. It's all normal. Now, that wouldn't matter, except guess what? In the propaganda lexicon, the disinformation world of words, paranormal and parapsychic have been sufficiently tainted so that the moment you're discussing that, well, you see, you're off in left field, and we really don't have time for you now. You see, if Duke was studying normal psychic behavior, which just happens to be not yet explained, which is telekinesis, possible, ESP, things like that, that program would still be around, but they shut it down. And Temple's program was shut down because, it's paranormal. Who funds that? It's outside the normal. Why are we spending money on that? Why are we doing that? All gone, all gone. In fact, there are only a couple in the country, so we don't study telepathy. We don't study any of this stuff in any money. In fact, anything in the power world is not going to get much money. It's for hobbyists and those who are already broke to dabble with in their spare time. So let's get rid of paranormal and let's get rid of parapsychic. Let's not yield to the propagandas of the state. Which brings us to home base here. I don't want to offend anybody, but there is a problem here. The contact world has not gotten their language together yet. They need to do it. as quickly as possible. And it's not going to be easy. First and foremost, there has to be an agreement about what you call somebody that is being engaged by extraterrestrials. Right? Okay, fine. Shouldn't be a problem, right? Except that there's different kinds of engagement. So, someone being taken against their will, they're getting implants, they're having hybrid children, another person is having conversations every night with somebody in a starship going around the planet, somebody else not being taken, they come and visit, they have tea, they break bread, they exchange gifts, whatever. All these kinds of contacts are going on. What is the word that's going to cover all of that? Well, there's only one that I believe comes close that would work, and that's contactee. If someone's got a better one, let me know. So at some point, the group and the community of contactees are going to decide, what are we going to call ourselves in the collective? And I'm suggesting contactee. Contactee means everybody having engagement by extraterrestrials of one form, fashion, or another. Okay, well, what about someone who's being abducted? They're an abducted contactee, forced contactee, something like that. How about someone that's having just conversations, no visits, just having conversations, getting some information downloads? Psychic contactee, not parapsychic, psychic contactee, mental contactee. You got people going around thinking that everybody that has contact with extraterrestrials are abductees. Abductee is synonymous with the collective. No, it's not. They tried to bring experiencer in. That was John's effort. He was trying to soften it. Experiencer is a possibility, but it didn't take, and it's not going to take. Contact is the word. Contact was the name of a very cool movie that everybody liked, right? It's very well known. It doesn't really have that much negative baggage. Contact is fine. Contactee, if you get the word, you get the definitions out there, will also be fine. Abductee, not so fine. Now, somebody can be an abductee, right? If they understand and they're willing to accept that that is still a subset, and they sort of let that be known, but not pass off abductee as contactee. We need a collective term. I'm recommending contactee. Here's where we are right now. Okay? You right? 15? Okay. Here's a quick status report before I launch the Congressional Hearing Initiative. Just to give you a sense of where we are. This is only a fraction of the total status, but it's representative. Here's the deal. 50% of the public in most developed countries privately accept the phenomenon as extraterrestrial. That's pretty well established. That's a whole lot of people. 20% of the world's adult population privately believe ETs are already living amongst us. Ipsos poll 5 years ago. That's 20% of 7 billion. That's like 1.5 billion people already think they're amongst us worldwide. 80% of the US population believe the government isn't telling the truth. That's probably higher. It's probably more like 90. Growing media coverage worldwide of phenomena and citizen science efforts past and present. No question that's happening. A dozen countries, not the US, have proactively released tens of thousands of relevant files in public domain. Several South American countries have set up new entities within their air forces to engage the issue. Multiple space surveys are finding an exponentially increasing number of planets and life-zone planets. That number keeps growing by the day. Extraterrestrial, exopolitical themes continue to determine popular music, and you've got musicians coming out as contactees. Extraterrestrials are everywhere in film and television. I mean, everywhere. There's at least a dozen movies in the works and 5 or 6 shows. It's just pouring out of Hollywood. The White House executive has put a formal position on the extraterrestrial question in print for the first time ever. NASA has all but conceded extraterrestrial intelligent life exists elsewhere in the galaxy. This was in a release about a year ago. No time to show you the stuff. You can find it. That's a limited hangout by NASA, which is trying to protect itself for the tidal wave that's coming. ET-related conferences are growing again in size and being held in stronger venues, and more conferences are devoted to contact. An unprecedented citizen hearing on disclosure was held in 2013 in Washington. A congressional hearing initiative is ready for launch in early November. An unavoidable increase in the passing of witnesses and researchers is part of our status and something that's hurting us. The political climate in Washington and public perception of political classes continue to deteriorate to unbelievably low levels. That's actually a good thing for us. MUFON is still here and expanding its areas of inquiry and upgrading its infrastructure, plus more organizations of size are forming. Look at MUFON. It is a new organization. It's coming on. There's strong people involved. It's no longer connected to the government, in my view. They're claiming they're going to have 100,000 new members within 12 to 18 months. Surveys point to 2% of the general population as being contactees, and contactees are coming out of the closet in greater numbers, including some of the public positions. I think we can have disclosure by February 2015. Here's how it's going to happen. We got the government to admit on paper for the first time in history their position. That position is there's no ETs, nothing. The government's not hiding anything. That position exists on the White House today, White House website. You can go watch it, look at it. It's been sitting up there for 3 solid years. It's a fixed target. We're going to pound it into oblivion. There is the response, searching for ET, no evidence. We got that in October of 2011. Raised the money to hold a citizen hearing in 2013. Congress won't do its job, the people will, so we did it. Right? We held it at the National Press Club, 2 blocks from the White House, 8 blocks from the Capitol. And we brought in 6 former members of Congress with 80 years of tenure who came in with a fairly on-the-fence position. We're totally blown away by the experience. We had 43 witnesses of rank and station, military, political, agency witnesses that testified for 30 hours over 5 days. That's the setting. It was designed to look like a Senate hearing room. They took oaths before their testimony. Notes and prepared remarks were submitted along with evidence. And a huge, massive written compilation of the whole thing is in production right now. That's, again, what it looked like. Now comes the Congressional Hearing Initiative, the final phase of a 3-year project which could end the truth embargo within 3 months. Hearings are important. Some of them have been incredibly important. Some of them have been covered by press worldwide. Obviously, the McCarthy hearings, the Watergate hearings, the Iran-Contra hearings, the Supreme Court nomination hearings, and they had hearings on everything. Tobacco and health, Benghazi, VA hospital scandal, IRS political scandal, Ben Bergdahl prisoner swap, the ISIS Sunni uprising hearings, and of course the immigration crisis hearings, which will be going on for the rest of your life. They can hold hearings, they can throw a hearing together in 3 days, right? Anytime they want, usually for political purposes. So there's no real physical barrier. So when was the last congressional hearing on the extraterrestrial issue? I mean, the ones that are here, not microbes 50 billion years away. 1968, 45 years. There have been a dozen or more efforts to get it. They've all been blocked cold because they know if those hearings take place, the game is over. 66, they had a hearing as well. 68 was the last hearing. Stan Friedman contributed to that hearing. He was at the citizen hearing on disclosure, right, which was held 45 years later. And Stan is going to be at the real hearings when they take place, I hope, in 3 months. That's the hat trick, folks. Nobody else is going to be ever able to say that. So I'm going to Congress. A lot of people think it's a mistake, okay? They may have a point. There it is, okay? There they are. The key to this thing is the citizen hearing on disclosure. We're about to complete the edits, and we will put together 439 10 DVD sets. There's the cover, jacket cover. That's what the disc will look like. That's the box. They're going to be shipped on approximately October 30. They will hit the offices around November 5th, which happens to be the day after the election, right? When all the political stuff sort of stops, the hearings stop, nobody cares anymore, the Congress people go home, all the staff are sitting there with nothing to do, and I'm going to show up. However, leading into it, we're going to do a massive blitz, a media blitz, which we will call a tweet email storm, which is going to be orchestrated from the website factsonwashington.org. Right? Whoops. And wait a minute, I'm going to back up on that. Hang on a second. I'm at warp speed now. Factsonwashington.org is where people are going to be able to find the information which allows them to send tweets to every member of the Senate and 1/3 of the House, as well as being able to find the email form for every member of Congress, so they can send them an email and a tweet every 3 or 4 days to their 2 senators and their representative, and then all the rest of them if they want to, and it can come from any country in the world. I'll be going to Europe. I want Europeans raining tweets down upon them because they can't tell. If it comes from Norway, they don't know. It's a human being that wants hearings. Thousands and thousands of tweets and emails, very short and to the point. You must look at those DVDs. You must meet with Steve Bassett. You must hold the hearings. You want them. So that they will know those DVDs are coming. So when they come, they will look at them. And when they look at them, they're going to meet with me. And why is that a game changer? What makes it so important is because for the first time ever, what we've done for the Congress is basically say, we want hearings. Here's what they look like. Here's what the testimony will be. Here's what the witnesses look like. Here's how former colleagues with 8 years of tenure handled it. Here's the questions they asked. Here's how blown away they were. Here's how the audience clapped every 10 minutes. There's no risk. This is what you get. Change history. We've taken all the risk out of it. Just do it, for Christ's sake. That's it. Never been able to do that before in all of history. And I can assure you that the moment the media realizes, when it finally gets to their head, because they see something going on, and believe me, we're going to be pounding the media, particularly if I can raise about $40,000 more so I can hire an inside media consultant, the same one that Stephen Greer used, my media consultant, which I led to him on a lease-led program. She's still around, only better than ever, 35 years, Janet Donovan. She knows all the back doors. She's going to set up meetings, she's going to set up dinners for me at embassies with invitees from high-level people to come and listen to me. But she's doesn't work for free, so I need 40 grand to bring her on board and take care of some other matters. But whatever, we're going to do it regardless. When the media realizes that guys like Bob Salas and Edgar Mitchell and David Schindel and other SAC-based officers, as well as a bunch of military agency people, are going to go in the Hill and raise their hand and under penalty of federal perjury, tell what they know about the extraterrestrial presence, the media is going to go in what we call feeding frenzy mode, which we have seen in our lifetime, at least a half a dozen times. The most famous was the Monica Lewinsky feeding frenzy mode, right? That's when Bill Clinton, who didn't have sex with that woman, hunkered himself down in the White House while 10,000 reporters ringed the White House saying, "Bill, come on out." And he did, and he apologized for 2 more years, but he still got impeached. Feeding frenzy mode. And so when that happens, here's what happens next. The White House press secretary, the Pentagon press spokesperson, these are one persons now. The Department of State spokesperson, the Senate and Congressional spokespeople, right? You know, the person that sort of comes out to answer questions about what the Senate is doing, and the Joint Chiefs spokesperson, and the spokesperson for the Air Force, these individual media representatives for these various agencies, there's about 15 that matter, are going to walk out on podiums just all by themselves because things have blown up and the media has gone frenzy. And this is what they're going to be staring at. Okay? And the truth embargo is over. Period. Because there are no answers to the questions anymore, except the truth. And if they try to lie, it'll be a fiasco. The media will eat them up. After the blue dress was provided to the press and the press went nuts, if Bill Clinton had gone in front of the people one more time and said, "No, not my stuff on that dress, somebody else. Yes, the DNA did match, but I'm telling you, it's not my stuff," he would have been impeached, he would have been convicted, and he'd probably be in jail. He wasn't that stupid. It's the same thing. I don't care if you're Bill Clinton or the entire military intelligence complex. When those guys show up at the press briefings of our institutions with 67 years of information that we've been giving them, unleashed completely to demand the truth, they will get it. And the truth embargo will end. And so if we can get the hearings called by the end of December, or January rather, hold them in February, the truth embargo will end by spring. That's it. See you tomorrow.